All right, we are back. Michael Knowles, good to see you.
You cruel man. You cruel man.
Even I felt bad. Even I felt bad. I was, I've gotten addicted to this video game, Diablo 3, and which is great because I can play it with people. This is the first time I've ever played online.
Really?
Yeah, I play with Spencer, I play with my kid and all this stuff. So, it's great. But I was playing it and I was thinking, Knowles is watching the Oscar.
You're there just eating pizza, playing your video game.
Scotch, playing my video game.
Yeah.
So how was it? Was it that bad?
I got to tell you something. It was the most boring Oscars, maybe of my lifetime.
Really?
Which is sort of a good thing.
Yeah.
No news is good news for the Oscars, I guess. There was some rumor that they were going to have Whoopi Goldberg be a surprise host. She had already hosted.
How exciting would that be?
Whoopi!
Whoopi, yeah.
They were I think they were gonna dig up Bob Hope and try to have it. So that was the rumor, They didn't do it. Okay. There was no host. They had, Tina Fey and like all the other Tina Feys came out and did some jokes at the top.
Right.
And there really was no host.
But they were all anti-Trump jokes.
It was all typical leftist nonsense, but there just weren't that many big moments. The winner for Best Director was a bit of a surprise to those of us who were hoping that the Academy still had integrity. It went to Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. Which, by the way, I'm so much of a masochist. I then watched Roma.
Did you really?
I did. I woke up very early this morning. I watched the whole movie.
You're kidding me.
I did. And that movie is about 18 hours long, so I actually woke up last night. That movie, because I didn't want to be unfair to it.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. The reviewers that I trust said it was terrible. Yeah. It's not just terrible. They say that nostalgia is history after a few drinks. Yeah. I cannot even imagine how many drinks Cuarón had to produce this self-indulgent, pretentious tripe. It was it's in the top 30 worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
Yes.
My wife turned it off, and so you got to think like that's bad.
That's pretty
it's
bad.
The only one of the movies I couldn't bring myself to watch. I just looked at it and I thought, even the trailer is boring me. It's like.
It was just a play. It was a very cynical political play on intersectional politics to see how far not a movie could get in the Academy. It's not a movie. It's sort of a home movie with the pretensions of black and white. It's supposed to look like one of these epic movies of the 60s, like Fellini or something like that. It's about nothing. It's about some maid in Mexico.
But it does have an effect that there's still some kind of prestige going on with an Oscar. Even like the old cranks on the right, like me, who sit around and go, the Oscars, I don't care about the Oscars. Even they say, oh yeah, that film won an Oscar, right? And so if you know that if you make a film attacking Dick Cheney or attacking the left, telling us that Donald Trump is a Ku Klux Klansman, which is absurd, you know that you can get nominated.
Well, this is the issue. And really, funny, you mentioned the Black Klansman. The only semi-outrageous moment of the night came when Spike Lee, an idiot, gave his acceptance speech for, I think it was Best Adapted Screenplay. Here's just a clip of it.
Okay.
The month, February, which also happens to be the shortest month of the year, which also happens to be Black History Month, the year 2019, the year 1619. History, her story, 1619, 2019, 400 years. 400 years, our ancestors were stolen from Mother Africa and brought to Jamestown, Virginia, enslaved. Our ancestors worked from the land from Kansas City in the morning to Kansas City at night. My grandmother, Zimmy Sheldon Retha, who lived to be 100 years young, who was a Spelman College graduate, even though her mother was a slave. My grandma, who saved 50 years of Social Security checks to put her first grandchild, she called me Spiky Poo. She put me through Morehouse College and NYU grad film. NYU. Before the world tonight, I give praise to our ancestors who helped build this country and what is today, along with the genocide of its native people.
Huh?
What happened? Talk about getting it, from the sense that I could make of that speech. Talk about getting it exactly backwards. And this is the problem with the Oscars. This is the greatest moment, this should be the greatest moment of this guy's career. He doesn't deserve an Oscar. He's not a very good director.
He doesn't make very good films.
He doesn't make very good films, and they give it to him. They give Spike the participation trophy. It should be the greatest moment of his night, and he complains about everything. He complains about the number of days in the month of February. He complains about anything he can. This is where they get it exactly flipped.
And you know, the other thing about it is he was very bitter that he didn't win Best Movie. There were all these things about him storming around. He stormed around. He said every time somebody drives somebody, I lose. That was because he lost driving Miss Daisy. But you know, a mature artist knows that awards don't mean anything. I've won awards, and I love them because you can always say, "Oh, I won an award," and people are impressed. But they don't mean your stuff is good. They do not mean your stuff is good. The only time I've ever agreed with Woody Allen is that he never would show up, and he'd never say, "I'm not going." He would just say, "That's the day I have my band plays," and so I plays the clarinet, and he would go off. And I always thought, like, there's a guy who actually knows about art. He understands, because sure, it's fun to go if I were invited, which is somehow Gosnell didn't get invited. I don't know.
That's so strange. Is Another Kingdom going to go?
Yeah, I could have just overlooked somehow. But you know, I would go because I like the fun of it and all this stuff, but I would never think to myself, "Oh, they cut me because now my work is less, or it would have been more if it went." It's like, screw them.
That's right. And I will say, by the way, on the Spike temper tantrum, where he pulled a Kanye, he's trying to steal this great moment from a fellow artist.
Right.
It actually does. I hate to leave us on a moment of hope for the Oscars, but the fact that there weren't many blow-ups, the fact that no host probably was better, and for the Best Picture, it went to Green Book, which is a standard Oscar-winning movie.
It's kind of a likable film.
It's kind of a likable film. It does show that the center hasn't totally dissipated. There is a little tiny something that is holding about the Oscars, and the rest of the awards were a little weak. Best Actor going to the guy from Bohemian Rhapsody, Rami Malek.
He did a great job.
He did a very good job.
Not very. It's kind of
a whatever movie. It was a weak year for movies. Olivia Colman getting it for The Favorite.
She is a terrific actress.
She's a terrific actress. It was a great performance.
And she let herself look terrible because she's actually kind of an attractive lady,
Right. And if they could take a year of basically terrible movies and come out with some good performances, have a basically fine Oscars, a little boring, no news is good news, that might be a guide to the future for the film industry. And if they can try to even minimize now the Spike Lee explosions and the Vice nominations. Luckily, Vice didn't really win very much; it only won hair and makeup.
Which probably deserved.
It was pretty good. There's just a little bit of hope. I'd be curious to see what happens in a year with good movies, but I'm not sure that I can look forward to that anytime soon.
I was shocked at how bad they were, and again, it's not the talent. I mean, last night I watched the last one that I was going to watch, which was A Star Is Born, and Bradley Cooper has now legitimately he's replaced Denzel Washington as the best actor who's also a movie star. Denzel is still the greatest, but he's older now. He's not going to be a leading man. Bradley Cooper is a leading man who can. He's really spectacular.
He's quite a good actor.
He really is. But you're watching the movie and it's like it's nothing. And it's like the Judy Garland one was better. And you feel I feel bad because movies are fun. But I really do believe it represents a loss of values, like that they don't know, they can't make a good movie because they don't have the values that underlie good movies,
The Roma, The Favorite for all of this, wins Best Foreign Film, all of these awards. Roma's about nothing. It's a film about nothing, and it's just self-indulgence, basically. And that loss of values, that loss of a sense of purpose, that loss of a sense of narrative, and that total self-indulgence, which is the Oscars in 2018, 2019, and probably 2020, that's the problem. Roma is the problem. It embodies the problem. But I don't see, with that total loss of a compass, how Hollywood can come back.
I don't either, and it's funny because you watch Netflix and there are all these, I watched that show You, which was a thriller. Not a great, it's not the greatest show on earth, but at least it was about the modern day. At least it was about issues that are plaguing young people now. I don't feel like I'm watching, I feel like I'm watching a bunch of people my age, which is not true. A lot of the people making the films are younger than me, but I feel like I've seen these movies already. We've dealt with these problems. I live this stuff. Show me the new world. Show me the world as it is today, which is what I think the arts should be about to some degree. And it's not like you can't make historical films. I thought the most contemporary film was The Favorite. Because
it was.
Because it dealt with a world in which men had been kind of excised, so there were no men in it, and it dealt with the questions of power, because there are two power-hungry women, one of whom actually loves her country, and the other one of whom doesn't, and it's a difference about like how you use power and what you use it for, and the patriotism of one, and the kind of just self-aggrandizement, and in that picture, there's the only great movie scene of the year, which is that dance.
The dancing scene.
It's an amazing.
The dancing scene is a brilliant scene.
It's a brilliant scene, and it says something. It basically says the world you are watching now, this 18th century world, is today.
Yes.
Because what they do is they start with an 18th century dance, and it morphs into a modern breakdance, which is hilarious. Had me in stitches, first of all, and second of all, actually says something important. So what are you talking about in your show?
Today we'll be talking about how, despite a year of flops at the movies and in politics, somehow they keep giving awards to the narrative, but the people aren't buying it. The audience isn't buying it. It's true from Roma all the way to Andy McCabe, and we'll see every one of those narratives butt up against reality.
It really is true. Reality has a voice. As I've always said, reality gets a vote. So, all right, now we'll see you later on Daily Wire backstage.
That's right. I'll see you for a scotch or 7 or 10 and a couple stories.
And you get to wear a tuxedo, which even I get to wear a tuxedo. So you look better in a tuxedo.
Stop it! Come on, you're going to make me blush. Get out of here. See you later.